Chief Salazar.
Chief, where are you from?
Clear Lake City.
Tell me a little bit about what you remember about Bum.
It's just hard to say. I mean, I spent a lot of years with him. He's a great man. Great man. Touched us in a lot of ways.
What about the crowd out here today? Turning out.
Big crowd. There'll be a bigger crowd in Houston, though. Wayne also knew him, too.
What's your name?
Wayne Churchill,
Wayne, here from
Texas City.
Kind of traveled all the way to Goliad today.
Yes.
Tell me a little about Bum and what you remember about him.
Well, he's just a great man. He's an honest man and a loyal man. And any of his friends, all they expected from him was to be the same way, be honest and loyal. And he loved God at his later years. And Bum done so much for me that he's one of the most highly respected men that's ever been in my life. And that's all I have to say.
Andrea McCarthy.
Andrea, you're Bum's daughter.
I'm second to the youngest in the family, yeah.
Tell me a little about your life with him, what it was like growing up and throwing the stardom of football all of a sudden.
You know, like any kid, you wanted to make your dad proud, so it didn't matter whether he was the head coach of the Oilers or just a, high school coach, because, he did the whole gamut as I was growing up. But you wanted to make him proud. So being a girl, it was kind of hard to think about how you could make him proud, but he was very loving, as you can tell from the tributes that everybody has said. He's, would give his shirt off his back to anybody.
What about growing up? I mean, years before football really took off with the Oilers and all.
Well, it's funny because once you get into the NFL, you make a whole lot of money. I mean, people are look at that career as a big-time money career, but all the way growing up, you're just a high school football coach, and any high school football coach out there knows you don't make any money. And my mom didn't work, so he had 6 kids, and trying to put us all through, school, and then the last 4 of us went to college. Trying to get us through college when he wasn't making that much money was a tribute to him. He worked very, very hard. He was a great coach and a great teacher too.
What about the rings? Tell me a little about after football.
When he retired from football and he decided that he wanted to live on a ranch, which is the way he kind of grew up, was out on a ranch out in the country, he really flourished. He really made some lifelong friends too here in the Goliad area. Everybody, from the Love You Blue days loves him and got to know him really well then. But this town has really gotten to know a different man. He's gave his life to Christ later in life at 78 years old. And that changed his life. It changed our relationships with him. It changed anybody that came in contact with him's relationship with him.
What kind of moved him in that direction?
He had Mike Barber, who does prison ministry, which used to be his one of his linebackers with the Oilers, tried to get him to go to prison ministry with him for years, and Dad would never do it, and he was kind of afraid to ask him, actually. And then he finally asked him, and Dad went with him, and he really saw what a difference it made in these guys that are in prison's lives, how it gave them hope when they didn't have any hope. So that was kind of what led him in that direction.
The last few months, what was it like?
He was struggling the last couple of months because his health was declining. He's a big, strong man and did not like having people help him. Not too long ago, he said something about, I just can't do anything anymore. And it was so, such a struggle for him. But he was there, with his mind. He didn't struggle at all with his humor, especially. And so he really lived out all the way up until the very end with a lot of humor and gave us a lot of peace.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit, Mike Barber, how did he play into this?
Mike Barber was his tight end with the Oilers, and he did prison ministry after he got out of the NFL. And so he finally talked Dad into going with him to one of his in one of his big prison events, and that's when Dad decided that he could give those guys hope in a different way by turning his life over to Christ.
And Mike's pretty much stayed in his life all his time, too, hasn't he?
Yeah, ever since then he has. Yeah, he's been very, very close to the family and was with Dad up until the very end.
Joe Beth, what is your full name?
My name is Jo Beth Whitlow. I'm an RN with Hospice in South Texas.
Spell your last name, just Joe Beth.
WHITLOW.
Okay, you were pretty much with Bum throughout. I mean, he's, I think, one of your favorites is
Oh, yeah.
Hospice. Tell me a little bit about it.
He was very much the man. You know, you kind of had to separate him from the image that he was. He was just this very caring, awesome person that when you were in a room with him, he made you feel like you were the special one, not him. So he was just really cool. Really cool.
Pretty much into football, too.
Oh yeah, I had to watch the games, and it was like, okay, I've got to go because I know your game's coming on. And sometimes he would tape them so that he could, you know, he'd have to go to bed about halftime or whatever, and then nobody would come in and say anything about the game because we didn't know whether he'd finished watching the end of it. We didn't want to tell him, you know, spoil the outcome.
So he'd go back and watch it again.
He would.
But you kind of spoiled him with pies and ice cream, too.
Oh yeah. I told him when we put him on hospice that he could have anything that he wanted. He could eat anything that he wanted. It didn't matter. And ice cream, drumsticks, those were his things, and he would get them, and he was so excited. But his favorite was coconut pie, so I brought him one every week.
Now, Debbie, she's kind of opposite of that one.
Yeah, hers is buttermilk, not coconut. So they get two. So I'd come in with a coconut and a buttermilk pie and a nursing bag on my back. Here we go.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. First of all, what is your name, sir?
I'm David Parks.
David, spell your last name?
P-A-R-K-S.
David, how long have you known Bum?
Oh, really about 5-6 years now.
Tell me a little bit about the experience with him.
Well, really my experience is kind of unique for other people because everybody else has known him from the football world, and we came to be pastors here at the Trailhead Lakewood Church in Goliad 6 years ago. And one Sunday morning somebody said, well, Bum Phillips is here, and I thought, well, okay, that's nice. And he started coming to church, and I didn't know that he's never gone to a church except our church. And so, you know, he's kind of a celebrity, but what I really remember most about him is the fact that he's just normal. I mean, there wasn't anything about him that just wasn't normal. Of course, he was a country guy, and he was a Texas guy, and that's where you're supposed to be. But he didn't have any airs about him.
But, I mean, did you talk much about his years with football and how he did back then?
He would talk football at the drop of a hat. Football wasn't that big a deal for me, so I couldn't, you know, I can't carry on a conversation with a guy like that because I don't know. But I asked him about how he got on into coaching, and he would really get excited about just speaking about coaching. And you know, even the last couple of years, he's still at somebody's spring training every year just looking and doing. So he loved football. He really did.
Was he pretty well involved with the church, too?
Yes, they were good supporters. You know, he's 90 years old when he passed away, so that means he was like 85 when he started coming to church there, and he did all he could do, you know, as much as a fellow you could ask for. He's a great supporter of mine. He tracked me down one day into a closet and said, you know, I just want you to know I appreciate you. Well, you know, when people will tell you I appreciate you face to face, you don't know, but if they track you down, they mean it. And I remember that. That's the kind of guy he was. That's the kind of guy he was.
Kind of an honor today preaching his service. Was it? What was it like there?
Well, I mean, yes, it's an honor, but from the pastor's standpoint, it's always an honor and a privilege to be able to try to help any family, large, small, rich, poor, next to nobody to somebody. And so it's an honor to be able to just represent the Lord in situations like this whenever you get the opportunity.
Did you grow up in the area too?
Actually, I was born in Corpus Christi. And
Not too far.
no, I'm not far from home. Yeah, this is our home.
He kind of liked the country too. I mean, he was really got into the country once he got out in his ranch.
Well, he was born in the country. He was born in the country and raised in the country, and you can't get away from that. And yeah, when he got out here, I'm sure it was just a different time in his life, but it was also an opportunity to get back to his roots.
What do you think now? Better place?
For him?
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, he's in a better place. Yeah, he don't have to spray brush, so he's in a lot better place.
All right, appreciate it, sir.